Hello and welcome to Women Empowerment Edition Impact for Change. The purpose of the podcast is to provide the space for women to share their stories in an inspiring way to help empower other women out there. Now, today's guest is the Life Realignment Coach. She's a trainer, coach, speaker, and author. Her passion is in serving and supporting other women who feel unfulfilled, lost, and questioning their life purpose to craft and live profoundly fulfilling and abundant life. She also helps women to break free from mental and emotional limitation. She is a co-founder of Arizon Transformation Academy. Through her journey, she has empowered so many women out there. So please help me welcome the extraordinary woman, Lori. Lori, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much for accepting to be a guest on my podcast.
Absolutely.
So, Lori, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, I certainly will. I am I'm a native born Texan. That's an important thing for me. I live in the US.
Mm-hmm.
I am I'm passionate about serving others. Like you mentioned, I'm a life realignment coach, certified life coach. I'm a
Yeah,
board certified NLP and hypnotherapy practitioner.
yeah.
And again, like you said, supporting others, that's just what I am called, my purpose is to do. Um, one of the really important things that I think is so important when we empower women
Mm-hmm.
and when we can reframe our mindsets or teach
Mm-hmm.
us new tools or strategies is that it not only helps us as a person, but as women, I think that it has a ripple effect to affect future generations.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are we helping ourselves in this moment in our time with the growth, with learning, with new strategies, that means our children, our grandchildren, our nieces and nephews that are around us will see the change and see the impact that we can make, and they will embody that new change as well. And so it just a ripple effect, and just we impact generations when we as women are just so we are so gifted and so beautiful and so blessed. Um, let's see. I am also a co-owner of Horizon Transformation Academy, and this is a training company that we offer certifications in the course as NLP practitioners.
Wow.
So, NLP is neuro linguistic programming. So, and my partner was on your podcast not too long ago, Amy Arizmendi. So we have partnered up, and so we can teach other women how
Mm.
to learn to be NLP practitioners. And if they want to be life coaches, we have certifications in that as well.
Wow. This is so powerful. I never say you're extraordinary for no reason. And you said also you have a non-profit company. Can you tell us a little
Yes.
bit
Oh,
about
thank
that?
you. Yes. So, taking my serving a little bit further, I am a co founder of a nonprofit here in the States. It's called The Key to Free.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 years ago, I had gone on a mission trip through our church. We had gone to Greece, Thessaloniki, Greece, where we observed and helped with A21. It's an international organization that uh, brings awareness and serves survivors of sex trafficking. And so we saw it from the European side and the Greece, what happens in Greece and over there. And when we came back, there was a few of us ladies, six of us actually. And this was like 10 years ago. So human trafficking wasn't even, or sex trafficking wasn't even in my vocabulary. I didn't know about it. we came back and we decided, well, if it happens over there, I'm sure it happens over here. So this year we celebrated our 11th year as a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
We serve survivors of sex trafficking women, and
Mm-hmm.
we have a safe house. We have total wraparound services. So been a passion. Also, I'm a recent founder of a nonprofit named Leighton Ivins Legacy Foundation. And this honors the memory of my 16-year-old grandson who lost his life in January of last year in 2023. This foundation provides scholarships for children and teens to attend local church camps or youth conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is just a big passion of mine. It's, obviously a lot of grief. He was my oldest, my firstborn grandchild. So those are the two nonprofits that I'm working through right now.
Wow, wow, that's really, really incredible. And I'm so sorry for your loss for your grandson. Um,
Yes, it was very hard. It is very hard.
uh, I mean, I can imagine, what you've gone. So that's I think the source of power that you. So what inspired you to start the key to free?
That's just when we had got back from our mission trip to Thessaloniki, Greece,
Mm-hmm.
and there were 14 women who had gone, but six of us, when we got back, we just had a calling and felt that this sex trafficking happens everywhere. It happens in our own backyard, and we don't even know it. So we started as an education and awareness about sex trafficking, and it grew into we have a safe house where women can stay and receive services at no charge to them. And we're all completely funded by private donors. And we provide medical services for them. We partner with local medical offices, churches, anyone that will help so that we can bring lasting change to them.
That is a huge, huge thing because not so many people will do that, and especially like women. And we are in an era, we're living in an era that I think is very important for us to uplift each other and help each other in any way possible. So thank you for doing that. I
Yes,
mean, a
no,
lot of women have
absolutely.
been, yeah, that is amazing. I was like saying thank you for doing that. It takes courage to start doing that. Some people they say it's very
there's
dangerous.
there's just so much evil in the world. It is just unbelievable. When most of us live our life on the surface level, and we might hear about these things on the news. It might brush past us, in passing. But once you start serving and putting yourself out there to help other people, you see the evil that goes on, and you have me personally, you just have to do something about it. And I know that we're not going to stop evil ever. So that we have to stand in the gap, and that's just what I feel that the other co-founders and I do is to stand in the gap.
That's such a powerful, really, really powerful. So thank you for doing that. So
Mhm.
Lori, what challenges that have you gone through in your life that have changed, you know, uh, the way you live or have changed your perspective in a certain
Okay.
way?
Okay. So I'll be 63 this month, and so I have a lot of life that I've lived, and I am a mom of four boys, four grown men,
Yeah.
and I got married when I was 19, so I'm still married to the same person. Will be our 44th year of marriage.
Wow.
So lots of wisdom, lots of
Uh,
lessons learned, lots
Oh,
of seasons of life. And
definitely.
with raising the kids. We were lucky enough when the my kids were very young to
Mhm.
live next door to my mother-in-law and
Mhm.
two doors down from my parents.
Yeah.
My husband and I grew up in the same neighborhood. And so we had a lot of family support.
Yeah.
At one point, when my youngest son was 18 months old, my husband got an opportunity to transfer to another state here in the
Mhm.
States in Utah. It's a
Yeah.
long way away and not Texas and no family there. And my husband worked shift work. So he was, morning shift, afternoon shift, or evening shifts. And as a young mom trying to raise four boys while your husband's sleeping, it,
Mhm.
it was a challenge. And then I wanted to be sure that, all my boys had whatever they needed as far as, you want to do what sports you want to do. Do you want to play in the band? I mean, everything, it's like I was there. Um, and would meet myself coming and going sometime, making sure that they were at practices and uh, at scouts or whatever they had to do. Most of the time, I've been a stay-at-home mom,
Mhm.
homemaker, and that's I just knew that's what I was supposed to do and what I needed to do. There were times when the boys were old enough when they were going to kindergarten that I started working here and there. And then I also went back in my later years, early 30s, went back to university and finished my degree. Because to me, education was just so very important. And I wanted to be that role model for my boys to
Mhm.
know that education is important. So um, I double majored in anthropology and public relations. Anthropology was my passion, and public relations, I figured I knew I could, get a job and make money doing that. So
Yeah.
had to have a backup with your passion. So it was a challenge being a mom of four boys and your
Mhm.
husband shift working. A lot of times I felt alone.
Mhm.
Um, we didn't, we, I had a church home, but it wasn't of the majority of the church that was there in Utah.
Mm.
And so it was hard finding friends. I was lucky enough to find some lifelong friends, so I'm just so blessed about that. But even then, I served back then because I was the mom that would get involved with here in the States. It's parent teacher union or parent teacher association, PTA, where you would be involved with the kids' schools or their classrooms or um, just always there because I wanted to be that mom where the teachers knew me and I knew them, so therefore they knew my kids very well. I would often volunteer in leadership roles as the president of PTA or um, president or regional president or something like that. So I mean, serving has just always been like a common theme for me, whether it's serving my family or serving other people.
Mhm.
And one of the things along the way, when you do serve like that, you lose sight of yourself, or anyway, I did. And I'm often reminded that, us and moms, we can't empty cup. And it was much later in my life that I even realized that I was trying to pour from an empty cup, that I didn't have anything else to give. And so there were just times when I would just throw my hands up. It's like, I don't know what else to do. I mean, four
Mm.
boys, they were rambunctious and, we all have our issues and they had issues and or school problems and it was a lot and I was tired. Um, just as a mom and as a human, as a woman, it's just like I'm
Mm.
tired.
Yeah. And how is that affecting your relationship with your kids?
The so over the years, we've been a close family, and I mean, right now we all live in the same town, and we see
Mhm.
each other regularly. I've got four grandchildren. One of them um, as mentioned earlier, passed away last year, but I've got three that are here on this earth, and my four boys and two daughter-in-laws, and my husband. Now, my husband's retired now, so he's home all the time. um, which coming from not being here a lot to all the time
Mm-hmm.
is a, a challenge. And to go back just a little bit from when we were living in Utah, my husband had a chance for another job opportunity, which took him to travel to Kazakhstan and Nigeria. So he would be was a rotator of, I don't know what you call it, but where he would be gone for a month and home for a month.
Yeah.
And this was a time when my kids were teenage boys,
Mm-hmm.
major struggle. And there were a lot of times as I was raising my kids, I wasn't happy with the way that I was, you know, seriously, I wasn't happy with the way I was parenting or treating them, or I would, not talk nice to them, or I don't know what else to say. And I knew there had to be something better,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know what you don't know, uh,
Yeah.
is something that I, say a lot because we can, some people sit and judge others by their actions, but if somebody doesn't know a different way or a
Mm.
new way or a better way, they don't know how to act or parent or respond. And I'm telling you that, I only like 4 years ago when I started really deep diving into self-development and empowerment and awareness,
Mm-hmm.
that I was able to see that once once I have the tools and the strategies, it's like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known this in my 30s and not in my
Mm.
60s. Because if I'd have known it in my 30s, how much of a difference would it have made? Would it have made, impact on my kids? I don't know because I didn't know then. And so with NLP and with my hypnotherapy certification and a few other certifications, it's like, I can see, it might have been detrimental to my kids. I don't know. They all are pretty great kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so my goal is to really to work with young women, to work with young moms so that they can find their place, so that they know that they can feel that they need to fill their cup up before they can pour into even their family. And it's hard these days. There's so many expectations on us, but it's okay. It's okay to not know. And when we grow, oh, I think everything just flourishes. I have a I have a poem, if you don't mind me reading it. It's I had written it back in the early 90s when so this is probably 95, my youngest one would have been 3. And it kind of goes along with our theme of being in control or trying to be in control of things, if you don't mind me reading it now.
No worries at all. Absolutely. Go ahead. We'd love
Okay,
to. We'd love to actually to hear your poem.
okay. So it is actually called Out of Control. Out of control once again. I get so uptight it makes my head spin. I scream, holler, and yell. My children must think I'm from hell. Not the mother I want to be. Someone else must be inside of me. Playing tricks and messing with my head. Sometimes I wish I were dead. Or is this a test, a lesson I must learn to trust and have faith with all concerned? To surrender my life to God above. He is the only one who shows me unconditional love. So now I stop and think before I raise my voice because it is me who has the choice. The monster within I can turn into my best friend. So it's about choice and how we respond and how we react. And it's so being in control. It is so debilitating. I don't know if you've ever felt that way of needing to control all the situations or all the outcomes, but that's how I was. It was like I felt like a mom of like a juggler, and I had all these balls in the air trying to make sure everything was okay and everybody was okay and the outcomes were good. And I was afraid if I dropped a ball, it's like my life was going to end. My life was going to be over as I knew it if I let go and dropped a ball. And I tell you, that just, that leads to depression and anxiety and, negative self-talk.
Wow. First of all, that poem is so powerful and it's
Oh, thank
so
you.
moving as well. I mean, oh my God, it reflects the emotions that I think every mother go through with the
Yes,
kids, with their children, and because they haven't been taught how to raise their children, they never taught this, not only the skills, like the basic thing, how to treat the child, how to understand a
yes,
child. Like personally, I don't have children,
hmm
but I am a kid. When my mom, what you said, reflect like, the kids think the mother is so
right.
controlling and is out of line. But when we
Yeah,
think about it, it's exactly what you said. If you know better, you will do better. And at the time you did what the best for your children.
that's right.
And you thought was so control. And it was challenging for you as well at the time, Laurie, because
Yes,
you felt you were alone. You felt that you are empty. You're pouring from an empty cup.
yes.
Tell me about that. Like how you felt when you was pouring from an empty cup. Because as a mother, that must be very, very, very difficult for you.
Oh, yes, it is because back then, as a young mom, I didn't know what filling your cup was or making sure that you're taken care of. And it's kind of like when you go on a flight, on a plane, and the stewardess is sitting up there and telling you all the safety procedures. And if we lose cabin pressure, the mask will come down, and you won't see it filled up, but you put it on yourself first, and then you help other people or your children. And it's like that's kind of counterintuitive to we as humans feel. It's like, oh no, I'm going to take care of my child first and then me, because me always last.
Mm,
But it's for a purpose. You have to be breathing in order to help your child. So
yeah.
you have to put on the oxygen mask first and then you help others. And so that was a, metaphor for, filling up your own cup. You can't love other people unless you love yourself first. And that was another, aha moment of a big lesson for me, was that when you have when you are in control,
Yeah.
you're not really loving yourself. I mean,
Mm,
you're just trying to make everything the way you think it should be. You're not giving anybody else space to grow or to learn or to make mistakes or fail and figure things out on their own. And of
yeah.
course, I know that now, but back then when I was a young mom, and it was like if kids came home and didn't have their homework done, I mean, I, you know, full transparency, I would be doing kids' homework for them, and
Oh,
that
wow.
didn't help them. It helped me because I was so afraid of what other people thought of me as a mom. Um,
Oh.
and that's not healthy. Now that I'm older, it's like, yeah, I don't care what anybody thinks of me now. I'm way past that.
Yeah. So
um,
you was afraid of the judgment of what other
oh yeah,
people
yeah, like,
think.
yeah, if my kids were doing bad in school, it's like, oh, what kind of mom is she going to be because she's not helping their kids or they're not getting what they need. And
Mm,
I was just always worried about that. And it's like, oh, that's so not fruitful to do that. You don't want to do that. Um,
And have you ever felt that you had the guilt inside you? Like there is a guilt of the way you treated your kids, the way, the blaming, because I know some other, moms out there,
Yes.
they would blame themselves
Oh,
of
yes.
like why control my kids? Why I do this? And also comparison, Laurie, because a lot of women out there, they compare as well when they
Oh,
see
yeah.
other women and their kids and how they are very, successful in their career, in their education. That put is more stress, and that make them also have more control over their children, not because they don't love them, but because they love them and they want them to be the best and better than
Mhm.
anybody else. So have you ever
Yeah.
felt that at some point?
And it's just like a snowball effect. When you start with one, it just, goes and goes and goes. And now with, social media, how it is, it seems like everybody's comparing with everything. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, if we just be still and go within ourselves, and it's like, what are we really here for? I'm not here to impress Billy Sue or, Susie or somebody else. I'm not here to impress that. I'm here to raise my children and to love them and to love my family and to make sure that, we have legacy. My job when I was working, yeah, that
Yeah.
was because that's what we knew, and we, had money to get things done, but really it's not important. It's not important. When it comes down to it, and you're not, I mean, especially since, I had dealt or am dealing with the death of my grandchild, it's like
Mm-hmm.
nothing is important. Nothing except your family and who you love is important. It can be from one day to the next that that person is in front of you, and the next day it's not. Leighton, my grandson that I was talking about, I
Yeah.
was very involved in his life. His dad is a single dad, which is my third son, and their mom wasn't in the picture. And so I was like surrogate mom. And so I was always there to help. So Leighton was much more than my grandson, and his brother were much more than my grandsons. And I would often take them everywhere they needed to go. And every time I took him somewhere and dropped him off, he always said, "Thank you, Yaya. I love you." Yaya is my grandma name. And, 2 days before I had dropped him off at work, and he said, "Thank you, Yaya. I love you." And I said, "I love you too, Leighton." I didn't know. I didn't know that was the last time I'd tell him, "I love you." And you just never know. So it's the little things that are important. It's how you treat people. It's what you say from one minute to the next. And when you're angry at somebody or when you're angry at your kids, it's not really you're angry at them. Something inside you is hurting. And until we learn, and what I do when I help the women in my coaching business, it's like, where is the root cause? What is it? And reframing how we respond or react. We want to be able to respond to something that happens, not react to it. React is just all emotion, and we might say things that we don't mean. But if we take time to be intentional
Mm-hmm.
just be intentional about life, everyday life. And when you are intentional, and if somebody says something snippy to you or offends you in some way, just pause, breathe, and respond, which is something that has just helped me. Um, so I've got one more poem, if I can share it, just about loving yourself.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. It's just called My Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Some years ago, I wore my heart on my sleeve for all the world to see. My emotions flowed as free as the Nile. My heart could be crushed with a word, a look, or sometimes even a smile. Then one day I tucked my heart away. I rarely let it come out to stay. The world is not able to see, for I'm the only one that can hold the key. My feelings were held tight deep inside. That volcanic explosion was hard to subside. Now I wear a heart around my neck, studded with diamonds that shine like the stars. not for the world to see. It's simply to remind me I must love myself first before I can give or receive the love that God intended for all the world to see. And so that kind of brings me down to it's like, I have to love myself. I can't give what I don't have.
Wow. Wow. Well, I hope women listen. Honest to God, I hope women who listen to this, who blaming themselves, they've been like hard on their kids and they blaming themselves, they're feeling guilty, they're feeling, you know, they are like, they treat themselves like a criminal. You know what I mean?
Right.
In a feeling and mentally as well, mentally and
Yeah.
emotionally, they
Yeah.
beat themselves up. You know,
And there's no, the women I work with and even myself, to this day, there's some guilt that keeps coming up. It's like, oh, what did I do back then? And
mm,
I recognize it now, and then I work through it and I deal with it I get in a way that serves me. And through NLP,
mm.
are you familiar with NLP?
No, never
Okay.
heard of it. Well, enlighten us,
Okay. It's
enlighten us.
neuro-linguistic programming. It's kind of a field of study or practice that looks at relationships, um, and thoughts
Mhm.
and the patterns of behavior. So it examines like the way we talk about ourselves, to other people, and the way that we think can impact our own behaviors and our own experiences. One of the things that I often find myself doing is when I have a negative thought, I will reframe it. A lot of the a lot of the help that I have really just cling to is just I live a life of gratitude. Um, every time I start to have a negative thought, I intentionally say, what am I grateful for? If something seems negative in your life, but what are you grateful for? Well, I have a roof over my head. Well, I have food in my stomach. What are you grateful for? And that just makes an impact on the way that I present myself each and every day.
Wow, wow.
Can I share
Like,
just a little something about our topic, which is control and giving up control? It's
mhm,
actually, and I just want to encourage the women out there, when you can give up control, whether it's control over anybody else, what they're doing, how they're feeling, that you're
yeah.
actually going to be given freedom. And I know it's hard and that's counterintuitive,
Mm,
but once you practice it and you have the tools and the strategy to
mhm,
give up that control and you experience the freedom, it's like letting the other person make their own decisions. They have the consequences. It's not on you. It's not about you. It's about their life journey. Your journey's
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And when you have freedom, it is just, oh, it's like a whole new perspective on life. And it's so exhausting too, whenever you're trying to control every situation and outcome. And I don't know if you've seen, there's a chart that says, things that are in your control and things are outside of your control. And it's two circles. And the only thing that's inside the circle that says that's what's within your control is comes down to it. It's just you. That's the only thing that you control is yourself and how you respond and react to things.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. This is so powerful. You've uh, talked about letting or giving up control. But Lori, when it comes to giving up control, especially with mother, as a mother, between the mother and the children, the relationship, it is not easy thing because they always maybe have the question, what if? And some mother, they want the best for their kids and they think that's the only way they can, to make the kids successful is by having that control, in their hands. But
Right.
some mother, they might say, you know what, I wanna give up control. I wanna give up control. I wanna make my children take the decision and responsibility. Now, to a
Yeah.
mother who think that way, it might not be easy. But because I know you said you used to have the control. What have helped you letting go of that control or giving up that control, Lori?
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I've got three things that I can share with the audience that has helped give give me the peace and the balance and the freedom of
Yeah.
letting go of control. And my first one that I always go back to is personally it's my faith that helps me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But also practice mindfulness and presence. Just be intentional and engage in mindfulness exercises such as meditation or prayer. I do a lot of deep breathing. I do box breathing, where inhale for what 4 to 5 seconds, hold it, and then exhale for 4 to 5 seconds, and then hold it for another 4 to 5 seconds. And it gives me just that small moment of pause when I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling like, oh, I think I might need to control the situation right now. And then I go back to like, oh, no, don't, Lori, don't. You're doing so good. Um, and this just helps you become more aware of your thoughts and your emotions
Mm-hmm.
without like immediately reacting to it. So, I mean, as a mom, a lot of time it's just like, it is just total reaction. I mean, I am guilty of, when the boys are in the car and we're going somewhere and somebody says something or pops off to me. And of course, remember, this was like 30 years ago. My oldest one is 41 now. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my first reaction is just backhand somebody. And it's like, that's just reacting back then. And I certainly wasn't practicing, mindfulness at that point. It's just like four boys in the car, just somebody be quiet. Uh, and that's okay. Like we said earlier, we're all on our
Mm-hmm.
own journey. We don't know what we don't know. And step two would be cultivate trust and acceptance. Trust that things will unfold as they're meant to be. And I know this is kind of a hard concept. And just accept that you can't control everything. Another another area would be expectations. We put so many expectations not only on ourselves, but other people, what we expect from other people. And we're always let down by that most of the time. And so the only thing that we can have expectations of is ourselves. And again, how we react and how we control or how we respond to things. And it doesn't mean that, you have to be passive or disengaged when you trust or have acceptance, but it's like an understanding that there are things beyond your control and just being open to accepting them. So trust and acceptance is number two. And then number three is try to focus on being the influence, not the controller. So if you shift your focus from trying to control the outcomes to influencing in positive ways, whether it's your kids or spouse, um, co-workers. So you don't want to impose your will on somebody else. You want to seek, oh man, if we seek to understand their perspective, we
Mm-hmm.
all have different perspectives. And, it's like walk a mile in your shoes or something. It's like, what's your perspective? I don't know. I don't know what your perspective is. I don't know what my neighbor's perspective is, but just have that understanding that we're not all the same. And if we can collaborate toward a, beneficial solution, and you can even do this with your kids, and it might be more challenging,
Mm-hmm.
but just collaboration and, seek to be an influence, a role model, something that they can look at and it's like, oh, okay, that's how it's done. Oh, okay, my parents love me unconditionally. My husband loves me unconditionally. My spouse loves me unconditionally. Um, and focus on what you can influence rather than what you can control, is basically. So that's kind of three, my three steps that I always go back to is mindfulness, cultivate trust, and focus on influence. Does that help?
That is absolutely great advice. I mean, whew, even I don't have kids. I'm gonna, I'm, I'm going to use this. I mean, mindfulness, focus on being the influencer, not the
Yes,
controller. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. And I think women out there who control their children's life, they need to hear that. They need to
yes,
be more influencer than the controller,
yes,
especially now we are in 21st century with the technology, with the
yes,
social media, with everything that the children, the kids being exposed to. We need to, I think, as a mother, to become more influencer in a positive way,
yep,
not the controller who's control children life, who say don't do this and all that, and it drives the
right.
kids away from the mother, and most oftenly the relationship will be drifted. So that is a very powerful statement. That's a very, very, very,
Yes.
very strong statement. But for women,
And another thing that you could also think about is our mind is your subconscious mind doesn't recognize negative. So when you say don't do this or don't jump on the furniture or don't, I don't know, swing from the chandelier, your subconscious mind hears swing from the chandelier, jump on the couch.
mm,
And the words that we say, and I wasn't raised this way. I mean, we just say what we say. We didn't even think about how we say it. And when you learn NLP, and if you go through a NLP practitioner course and become certified in this, you will know. I mean, language is so important. We need to focus on what we want and not on what we don't want. So if you want
that's powerful one.
successful children or a successful relationship, focus on what
Mm,
you do want on that relationship, not, oh, I don't want this, this, and this, because actually, if you're focusing on what you don't want, that's what you're going to get. And it's just so empowering. The NLP and the hypnosis is just, I mean, that's what has changed my life in the last 4 years, actually. And just mindful, and it's just like I just have a whole new outlook on how I see the world and how I see myself and how much I've been able to forgive myself for the guilt that I've carried around for so long for doing this or doing that wrong.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think it also start with self-love, because
Yes,
some mothers, they come from a maybe a not good background, and
right.
they try to have that, take all that, their emotion, their frustration on kids, and
Mm-hmm.
they that become more controlling. So I
Yeah.
think self-love is very, very important. As you know, you mentioned earlier, self-love helps you as well, with
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah.
relationship with yourself and the kids as well. So that is absolutely an amazing. So what advice, Lori, that would you give to women who want to let go, want to, give up control in their life? But some people, they might hear your advice today, or your wisdom, or what you said, and they're
Right.
gonna say, "Oh, it's easy said than done. It is easy said than done." And some people, they want to take
Right.
that step. They want to take that first step, but they,
Yes.
they don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. So, what advice that you would give to those women outside there?
Well, you would need to find a mentor. I personally couldn't do it on my own. I found a training company that I had worked with. It just during COVID, it was all online. So it's like, sure. And I've always been interested in self-development. So I consider myself a learning learner.
Mm,
I'm always wanting to know. So I know you mentioned you're a life coach as well. So seek out people who are coaches who can coach you in this. It's not something I could have done on my own by any
mm,
means. I personally have several coaches right now that help me with different aspects in my life, and that's okay. You know, that's what helps me to grow. I have a website that I can share with you. Um, my Amy and I with our training company. You can search. We're brand new, so we don't even have a landing page yet, but
mm,
we will be offering online and in-person NLP practitioner training classes in the late fall and early spring next year.
mm,
Find a mentor, find your tribe, find a community of women, of like-minded women.
mm.
Um, that's just so very important because a lot of us, maybe we are in a negative environment or it's negative in our family or extended family. And it's just like, that's all you know. Seek out a different environment. I'm not saying leave your family or, leave your extended family, but just seek another a way for community. Like I mean, even your podcast, this is a community here and Facebook groups. I find a lot of comfort in learning and people that you meet that can hold you accountable. I mean, it can be a friend of yours, an acquaintance that says, "Hey, um, I need an accountability partner. This is what I'm working on right now. Can you be my partner and I can check in with you and you check in with me?" But a mentor and a coach, that's what's helped me.
Absolutely. Especially when the environment doesn't help, when the people you know that surround yourself with is they don't they all they think is maybe negative and they don't help. I couldn't agree more,
Yes.
Lori. Find
Yeah.
yourself a positive, even one person can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You never know who you can impact.
Absolutely.
Your story, somebody else needs to hear it. You might not know, but we all have a story. We all have a testimony that is gonna somebody else needs to hear your story.
And that's true because every story is unique and is special by itself. And I think that's what I believe personally. And
Mhm.
and for mothers who they're struggling with control and how to release and all that, just I think be easy as yourself, be easy on yourself and find, as you
Yeah,
say, a mentor or a coach to help you with whatever you're dealing with and supporting you. Even you
yes.
say the community, find people that they think alike or people who want to heal, even the group of mothers that can be helped as well. So thank you so much, Lori.
Oh,
If people
I'm
want to
just blessed. Thank you.
so if people want to find you and connect with you, and if women hear today, your story and they get, because a lot of women out there, they're going to be related to your story. A lot
Yeah,
of women, and I'm definitely damn sure. I hope they take your advice though, because what you gave today is so 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 powerful
oh well, thank you
that
very
can
much.
change. They can change people life.
Yeah,
They can change women life if they implement it. So if they wanna connect with you, they wanna reach out, and they wanna communicate with you, where they would find you.
absolutely. I have a website. Yeah, I have a website. It's loriivins.com and LORIIVINS.com. I have a Facebook group. It's just called Coach Lori Ivins. You can find me on there. And like I said, our training company should have a website. We have a website, but it's not up yet. So it will be soon. So maybe um, I can give that information. It's kind of a long, but
Mm,
I will let you know I can give it to you so you can put it on a flyer or something if you give it out to people. But yeah, LoriIvins.com, you can find me, reach out to me, I'll respond to you. Um, and I just want to serve people. I just want to serve women because when we're able to make positive change in us, we can break generational curses to have a positive impact on our legacy.
Thank you so much, Lori, for being on a podcast and for you sharing your powerful stories. It's such a empowering and inspiring one as well. And this is just the beginning. I hope people will reach out to you
Oh,
today
me too. Yes.
and when they listen to this, and share their stories with you so you can help them, because I know you're one of the extraordinary women who have gone the journey, and they've reached there. You have such a great wisdom. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you so
No,
much.
thank you for having me. I certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Is there any last word, last advice for women?
Learn to love yourself,
Mhm.
love to be gentle with yourself, mind your thoughts, um, learn how to respond instead of react, and just reach out to somebody.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies, and I hope you take Lori advice today in relation to how you and the advice that she gave today is so powerful. I hope you implement it as well, because definitely what she said today, it is powerful, and I'm gonna implement. Even I'm not a mother, I'm gonna
Mhm.
implement, because I have some stuff in my life that needs Laura's advice. So thank you so much, and I'm gonna leave Laura's contact detail in the description. If you want to connect with her and communicate with her, and please do so, because she have a she's an expert in what she does. And when I say she helped lots of women, believe me, she did. So until I see you next time, bye bye.